Hey everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to make a 2-strand necklace and a pair of earrings today using some of the contents from the Sam's bead box that was gifted to me by my sweet friend Kira, the May box called Waltz of the Flowers. And in here I've got the check glass faceted heart brios in champagne, 9 by 9.5 millimeter. And here I've got the satin gold daisy spacers, they're 5 millimeter. And here I've got the check glass Druck round beads, they're 8 millimeter, and the color is gold dust white silk. And here I've got the check glass melon beads, they're 8 millimeter, and the color is gold dust clear crystal. In here I've got the check glass 6-sided tube beads, 7 by 19 millimeter, and they're in white silk gold. And here I've got some 11-0 galvanized champagne, Miyuki galvanized champagne seed beads, and some 3 millimeter clear fire polish beads from my stash. And here I've got some findings. I've got a lobster clasp, some chain. I'm going to use the same kind of chain for an extender. I've got a ball head pin to dangle. I'm going to dangle one of the little clear chopped fire polish beads and a couple of the little 11-0 seed beads off the extender chain as a dangle. I've got some jump rings. I've got 4 wire guardians and 4 2x2 crimp tubes. And in here I've got what I'm going to use for my earrings. I've got some of the melon beads, some of the check glass Druck beads, a couple of ear wires, a couple of the satin gold daisy spacers, and these little ginkgo leaf charms. They're 13 by 13.5 millimeter, and I've got a couple of eye pins in there and a couple of leverback ear hooks. I've got my soft flex speeding wire in fine. This is champagne color. It's let's see, 19 strand, but like I always say, it doesn't really matter what color your bead stringing wire is. By the time you get all the beads on there, you're not going to be able to see it. I've got my bead stoppers. I've got my chain nose pliers, my round nose pliers, and my tweezer pliers. I've got both pairs of my bent chain nose pliers. Got both pairs of my crimping pliers. I use the Xeron ones for crimping. I use the bead-alone ones, the little circular part on the end there, to tuck in the burrs when I cut off the wire. Got both pairs of my cutters. I use one pair for bead stringing wire and the other pair for craft wire and head pins and eye pins. And I've got my little New Orleans shot glass to put my wires in when I cut them off. I think that's everything. Hold on, let me get some of my beads poured out and I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to string up my longest strand first. And then I'll string up the shorter strand, and then I'll crimp one of them. And then I'll do the other one off camera. So I'm going to do an 11-0. One of my little clear fire polish beads, and an 11-0, and another clear fire polish bead, and an 11-0, I'm going to do this until I have 7 fire polish beads and 8 11-0s on my wire here, and then I'll be back. Okay, I've got 7 fire polish beads and 8 11-0s now. And now I'm going to do one of my Druck beads. and a spacer, and 3 of my melon beads, and a spacer, and 3 of my drop beads, and a spacer, 1 of my melon beads, and a spacer, one of my one of my 2 beads, and now I'm going to do one of my 11-ohs, fire polish bead, an 11-oh, one of my little briolet beads, an 11-oh, fire polish bead, and an 11-oh, another one of my little briolets, so I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to do an 11-oh, a fire polished, and 11-oh between. I'm going to put 5 briolets on this one. So I'm going to do an 11-oh fire polish bead and 11-oh between, on either side and between my briolets, and then I'll be back. Okay, I've got my 5 briolets on here now with the 11-ohs and the fire polishes between them and on either side. And now I'm going to do my tube bead. Well, I know that's got a hole in it. Okay. A spacer bead. A melon bead. A spacer bead. 3 of my drug beads. Spacer bead. 3 of my melon beads. Spacer bead. 1 of my drug beads. And now I'm going to do an 11-oh, fire polish bead, and an 11-oh, and I'm going to keep doing that 11-oh fire polish 11-oh until I have 7 fire polish beads and 8 11-ohs on this side, and then I'll be back. Okay, this is my first strand, my longest strand, so I'm just going to crimp it, and then I'll string the other strand, and I'll just crimp it off camera. But I'm going to take my crimp tube and put it on here, and then take my wire guardian, go down the other channel of the wire guardian, back down the crimp tube, Try to keep my wires from getting crossed and hold them apart here. Now I'm going to take my crimping pliers and I'm going to go in that part that has a little tooth on the side. And I'm going to put the tooth on top. I'm going to squeeze my crimp. And that puts each crimp in its own little, or each wire in its own little channel there. Now I'm going to go into the middle circular part up here. There's 3, and I'm going to go into the middle one because that's the one for a 2x2 crimp tube. I'm going to lay my crimp in there and squeeze. Then I'm going to go down a little bit and squeeze again. Down to the first circular part. I think my crimp tube got twisted around on me there. And I'm going to pull. That's good. So now I'm going to cut my extra wire off. I'm going to cut it off my spool over here. Push everything down. And now I'm going to crimp this side. I'll take my crimp tube, my wire guardian, go down the other side of the wire guardian, the other channel. Back through my crimp tube. Keep my wires from crossing, and I always try to go through a bead or 2 on this side to get my hands out of the way. Now I'm going to pull my wire through and make sure my wires are not crossed. I don't know, I think they might be crossed. I better take this out and do it again. I don't want them to be crossed because if they get crossed they won't fall in each of their little individual channel and it's likely to fail. Trying to get back through that 11 over there. I think I got through a fire polish too. Yeah, I did. Okay. I'm going to pull my wire through. Now I want to make sure there's no slack in my piece, but I want to make sure it's not too tight either, and I definitely want to in this piece because if it's too tight these little hearts will bunch up and look weird. So I'm going to try to leave enough slack in it that won't happen. Even if it means leaving it a little bit loose. So now I'm going to go into that part with the tooth again and lay my tooth on top. squeeze. Now I'm going to go into that second part of the circular part again. Lay my crimp in there. Get it to stay still. I'll squeeze and fold my crimp. Then I'm going to go down to the next one that's really for the 1mm crimp tubes and squeeze again. I'm going to tug. That's good. So now I'm going to cut my extra wire off. Okay, so that's going to be my longest strand. Now I'll get my beads together and string up my shorter strand. Okay, now I'm going to string up my shorter strand. So I'm going to start with an 11-0, a fire polish bead, and an 11-0. And a fire polish bead. And I'm just going to do an 11-0 and a fire polish bead and an 11-0 fire polish bead till I have 7 fire polish beads and 8 11-0s, and then I'll be back. Okay, now I've got 7 of my fire polish beads and 8 of my 11-0s on here. So now I'm going to do one of my melon beads, spacer bead, 2 of my duck beads, spacer bead, 1 of my melon beads, spacer bead, 1 of my tube beads, spacer bead, another tube bead. I'm going to do an 11-0, fire polish bead, and an 11-0, one of my little briolettes, an 11-0, fire polish bead, 11-0, more briolettes, fire polish bead, 11-0, one of my briolettes, 11-0, fire polish bead, 11-0, one of my tube beads, spacer bead, another tube bead, spacer bead, melon bead, spacer bead, 2 of my duck beads, spacer bead, melon bead, 11-0, fire polish 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 bead, and an 11-0. So that's going to be my shorter strand. So now I'm going to crimp this off camera, then I'll be back. Okay, I've got both these strung up now, and I'm going to put them together. So I've got an 8mm jump ring. And I have the hardest time putting these multi-strand necklaces together. I get them together like I think they should be, and then when I get them laid out, they're twisted, or when I try to hang them up, they're twisted. And I think I have discovered, and I don't know why this works, that if I do the outer strand and then switch hands and do the inner strand, and I've got a little piece of chain here for each side. They're about 4 inches long. So I'm going to put that on there. I should have put that on there first. I think I will. I don't know what it matters, but I'm going to try. Okay, now I changed my mind. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to put the chain on. Now I'm going to close my jump ring. Okay, now I'm going to try to do this on the other side. I'm going to do my inner strand. And I'm going to do my outer strand. And then I'm going to switch hands and do my inner strand. And then my piece of chain. Close up my jump ring. Now let's see how this is going to lay. If this is going to do right or not. Yeah, I think that works. I don't know why. Hold it up and see if it's going to work. Yeah, I think that's going to work. I have no idea why. But I think that worked. So Hold on a second, let me get my other findings to put on here. Okay, now I've got my other findings here I'm going to put on. I've got a 6mm jump ring here. And I'm going to take one side of my necklace and put my jump ring on here. Put my lobster clasp on. Close up my jump ring. And I've got another 8mm jump ring here. I'm going to put on this side. I'm going to put a little piece of extender chain on it. It's about 1.5 inches of extender chain. And I believe I forgot, I know I didn't tell you the measurements on this. My outer strand was like 12 inches and my inner strand was like 10 inches. I usually do 1.5 inches to 2 inches between each strand. So now I'm going to make a little dangle to go on my extender chain. I'm going to take one of my little fire polish beads and an 11-0. This is a ball head pin. I started to do an 11-0 and a fire polish and an 11-0, but then it looked like I had 2 11-0s at the bottom, so I'm just doing a fire polish and an 11-0. I'm going to take my pliers, go to the very tip of the pliers. I'm going to do a 90-degree bend. Take my round nose pliers and put them in the crook of the bend. Round nose pliers facing me. Bend the wire back until it hits the beads. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Hold on tight and take this part up and under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the beads. Take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Hold on really tight. Take my other bent chain nose pliers and start wrapping. Just wrap till there's no more room to wrap. And I did it again. I forgot to do I forgot to wrap this directly to my extender chain. I know y'all are probably out there. Y'all probably was out there watching me yelling. You're forgetting to wire wrap it directly to the extender chain. So I'll just have to get a little 4mm jump ring and put this on here with that. Hold on a second. Okay, I've got me a little 4mm jump ring here. And I'm just going to hang my dangle on with that. So there's my necklace. Now I'm going to get some stuff together and make a really simple little pair of earrings. So I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to make a really simple little pair of earrings here. I'm going to put on my melon bead and my spacer bead and my duck bead. I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to go a little bit above the bead so I don't crack my bead. I'm going to turn it at a 90-degree angle. Take my cutters. I'm going to cut off and leave about 1/4 of an inch of wire. my round nose pliers and go to the end of the wire. Make sure, I don't think I got a good flush cut on that. You need to get a good flush cut on the end there. Now I'm going to take my round nose pliers and go to the tip of the wire, make sure there's none sticking out over here. Start rolling back a loop. Make sure to get your loop closed really well. And my loops are not straight with each other, as they almost always are not. So I'm going to take 2 pairs of pliers and just straighten them up a little bit. Just twist them like that to straighten them up. Now I'm going to take a 4mm jump ring and attach my little ginkgo leaf to the bottom of my earring. I didn't attach it directly to the eye pin because the top of that leaf is pretty thick, and it wouldn't have dangled and moved like I want it to if I had attached it directly to the eye on the eye pin. So I just attached it with a 4mm jump ring. So now I'm just going to add it to my ear wire here. I'm going to open my loop up here, thread on my ear wire, and close up my loop. I want to make sure I get it closed really well. I'll use my tweezer pliers. So there's my little earring. So I'm going to make the other one off camera, and then I'll be back. Okay, there we go. My first necklace and pair of earrings made from the Sam's bead box that was gifted to me by my sweet friend Kira. Again, Kira, thank you so much. I appreciate this so much. I plan to make lots of other pieces out of that box. It's a beautiful box. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked and commented on my videos. I have a website where I sell my jewelry. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook and Instagram and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So until next time, hope you all have a great day. Take care.